Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Meditation Momma podcast. This series, we are going to be focusing on stories. It's going to be so much fun. We're focusing by request from Alex, who requested that I do a series on the teaching stories so that they are easily accessible and easy to find, because the teaching stories are what help us to live our days, to navigate this world with the mindset of a meditator. And so before we jump into our first story, I just want to remind you that part of what we're doing here with this podcast is helping you realize that you can benefit from meditation. You can become a person who's living a meditation life without necessarily having to sit on the cushion every single day. There's a mindset, there's a way of looking at the world as a meditator that literally shifts the way we respond, the way we react. And in that shift, it changes the trajectory of our lives. And so these teaching stories are here as little reminders for all of us who are not playing by the same rules as the rest of the world. The rules we're playing by, and I wouldn't even call them rules, the guidelines we're living by are the ones that say, hey, how can I be happier? How can I be wiser? How can I be kinder? Or another way to put it, how can I be less angry, anxious, stressed, irritable, right? We're looking for some relief. Living as a meditator means approaching your day with a different perspective. From the perspective that says, oh, my reactions are about me. They're the only thing I can really control. And so how can I learn to feel calm and centered and equanimous as I approach all the different things that are going on in my world? Okay, so that's a brief little introduction, but let's get to the first story. The first story is called A Dog Walks into the Room. And for those of you who listened to the first series, you know, oh, wait, she already told this story. And it's like, yeah, I did. Because you know why? Meditation tells the same stories again and again and again and again and again and again and again, because at different phases of our growth and our evolution, we hear it differently. But also, hearing it again and again and again, it kind of imprints the story so that in the middle of a situation where you're just like, whoa, what do I do here? Boom, a story will pop in your mind and give you some insight for how to navigate a difficult situation. So, back to our story. A dog walks into the room. Once upon a time, in the city of Chicago, in the 1920s, two little boys were playing in the front room of their little house. It was a hot summer day, and the front door was propped open to allow for a breeze to move through the house, or air to at least move through the house, because there was no air conditioning. Well, as the boys were playing, a dog that had been wandering through the neighborhood walked into the room. And one of the little boys saw the dog and screamed, "Ah!" and beelined it for the closet, slammed the door, tucked himself in, terrified, afraid, screaming and crying, hiding in the coat closet. The other little boy saw the dog and went, "Wow," and carefully walked over, so curious, and reached out, and the dog let him pet the dog, which allowed the little boy to gaze into the dog's eyes. And as he did, he saw these liquid, deep, endless pools of light and color, and he was enchanted, and he wanted to get on the dog and ride it like a pony. And that's our story. It might be one of the shortest stories on the planet, right? But that's a story, and there's so much in it. Think about it. There was an event, the exact same event. One little boy locked himself in the closet, terrified and screaming and crying, so he could be safe. The other little boy was curious. And out of that curiosity, he had an experience of enchantment, and he wanted to play and enjoy the dog. Two completely different responses and reactions, one dog. And what this teaches us, because we say in meditation, the only thing we can control, the only thing you can really control is your attitude. And so, if that's true, that means that in any situation, there's a way to respond that is, we would say, meditation confining, that closes you down, that makes you want to feel safe, you feel fearful, and you hunker down, you close in. And there's another way to respond that expands you, that expands and opens your awareness. You learn, you discover, and maybe, often, who knows, discover things that might actually be enchanting and wonderful and fun. And the power of this story is that every one of us are always in moments where we have that choice. We have the choice to respond in a way that confines us and shuts us down, or expands us and opens us up. And what we learn as meditators is that that choice is available to us when we are aware of what our mind is doing, what the attitude is that we're bringing into a situation. There's all kinds of attitudes, right? There's an attitude of, the one most people know is do you look at life as the glass half full or the glass half empty? And are you an optimist, a pessimist? But there's other kinds of attitudes. There's an attitude of confidence. There's an attitude of, oh, victim, something's going to wrong. Something's going to wrong. There's an attitude of grievance. There's an attitude of, I'm going to just blame the world for everything that's wrong with me and making me unhappy. There's an attitude of trying to see the best in every situation. There's all kinds of attitudes. And I'm not saying there's a right or a wrong so much as there is an attitude that will help you become the person you want to be. There's an attitude that will help you be happier, that will help you find more contentment and joy in your life. And what we want to do is learn to pay attention to our attitudes so that we can choose the ones that are going to help us get to the goals that we're here aspiring to. And by goals, I don't necessarily mean, buy the $2 million house. I mean, be happy, be kinder, be more present, be able to listen to people, feel more compassion. And one of the ways we can look at our attitude is to just listen to ourselves during the day. You've all probably had the experience of knowing somebody, or you yourself may have had this experience, where your parents are divorced and there's several kids, right? And one of the kids says, "Oh my God, my parents were divorced. I'm never getting married, not going down that road, never." Another kid says, "Oh, my parents were divorced. I've been married 4 times. It's just a disaster. I've never learned how to do relationship. My parents are divorced. I just never learned how." And another one says, "Oh, my parents were divorced and I vowed I was never going to divorce. I was going to learn how to make a marriage work and relationship work. And by golly, by gosh, I've been married over 60 years and I'm happy and it's working." 3 different responses. 3 different responses, same event. I hope I'm making the point. Attitude is a choice. It's a choice. It's a choice. We hear it. "Oh, my parents were alcoholics, so I'm an alcoholic. Oh, my parents were an alcoholic, so I'm not drinking at all. I don't drink at all. I'm not an alcoholic." The work that we can do day to day in our lives is to just step back just a little bit in our awareness and watch what our minds are doing, how we are responding, how we are reacting in a situation. And we can ask ourselves, ooh, am I the little boy who's open and curious, or am I the little boy who's terrified and afraid and closing down and hiding to be safe? And not that we want to judge it or be mean about it. We just want to notice what our minds are doing so we can consciously choose the attitude that will help our life move into the trajectory we want it to. So the teaching, the takeaway from the story, the teaching comes down to very simple. Attitude is all. 3 words. Attitude is all. Attitude is all. Attitude literally has the power to change the trajectory of your life. I hope that made sense. I really do. And I think I'm going to tell you one short little story. This isn't one of the teaching stories. This was my experience of that happened to me that made me think of this story. So way, way, way back when I was at a retreat in France where my guru was living at the time. And during the retreat, one of the people there was a crisis going on at home and she needed to get back immediately, ASAP. And so they had someone who could drive, who had a car, and they asked me to go along because I spoke enough French to be of some use. And I said, of course. So we drove in, and she was very worried, very, very, concerned and scared because we had to make this train, and we were cutting it so close, but we had to make that train in order for her to make the next flight out of Paris. So we're driving in, and we park, and we go into the train station, and we're trying to talk in French into figure out the trains and the tickets. It turns out the train they thought that we wanted to take wasn't the right one, and we were guided to the right one. And then when we got there, we were in the wrong car. They guided us to the right car that would actually go all the way to Paris. And we literally got her on with her bags, just like a minute. And the train was starting to pull out. It was one beautiful synchronous city of people showing up to help us get right where we needed to go. And I had just enough French to navigate it, and we got her out of there on time. So we drive back to the retreat center. And after a little bit, I went back into the room where everybody's hanging out. And they looked at me and they said, "Hey, how did it go?" And I said, "Oh, it was great. We got there, and we managed to get to just the right people in time, and we were able to avoid some of these mistakes, and we got her on the train literally just as it was about to pull out. It was great." And they all cracked up and started laughing. They were just busting a gut, and I'm like, "What? What?" And it turns out the woman who had been the driver had already been in the room, and they'd asked her, and she had said, "Oh my God, it was a nightmare. It's a nightmare. It was the worst thing. Oh my God, we got there and it was the wrong place, and we were on the wrong train, and then we had to run and run." And she just had gone on about what a nightmare it was. And I'm looking at this going, oh my gosh, this is the teaching in my life of the dog walks in the room. One person, same event, saw it as a nightmare. Another person saw it as a series of miracles that helped us make the train on time, right? So I hope I can leave you with a sense of hope and possibility that your attitude is in your control. Nobody else is. Just you can control your attitude. So, my loves, please, attitude is all. Attitude is all. Attitude is all. Choose the attitude that will help carry you to your dream. All right, enough for today. So much love to all of you. I wish you the best, and I hope to see you on our next episode for our next teaching story. Thank you so much for listening. I do hope you found something that was helpful or meaningful or maybe even inspiring. If you have any questions, please email me at podcast@meditationmomma.com, and I'll be sure to answer them on one of our upcoming episodes. And in the meantime, let's all just take a moment to just let our attention drop into that heart center, and let's take this thought with us into the rest of our day, the rest of our week.
May I be happy, may I be free, joyous, grateful, safe and at ease. May I live wisely, flowing downstream, row my boat gently and sing merrily. May you be happy, may you be free, joyous, grateful, safe and at ease. May you live wisely, flowing downstream, row your boat gently and sing merrily. May all be happy, may they be free, joyous, grateful, safe and at ease. May they live wisely, flowing downstream, row their boats gently and sing merrily.